Oh, that looks so terrible. I apologize. Okay, so I want to make sure that everybody gets this correct. This is going to show up on the quiz on Wednesday. I sent out a template by email, and it will also show up on the midterm. So we've all decided that this is important enough to put on the midterm. And it's not that you're going to see this ever again. It's something about the process. It's a little bit messy, so get used to using something messy. And it has it's a little bit of a trick. So you'll never see that trick again, probably, most likely. I'd be surprised if you did. So it's not content that I'm looking for. It's kind of getting used to working with something messy. So the trick here is it's called rationalizing the numerator. You cannot just plug in 0 into this because if you do, then you'll get 0 over 0, which is not fun. So you can't directly find this limit. So the first trick is to multiply top and bottom by what's called the conjugate. So I'm carefully going over this, and I'm going to ask you every once in a while if I'm okay. So if you need more explanation, because I want to make sure that nobody gets it wrong. Nobody. So I think a lot of us missed it in here comparatively. Like we had a lot of hundreds, but you know how I'm never satisfied. I want everyone to get it right. So top and bottom by the conjugate. We okay there? Yeah. So that ugly thing, this thing on the bottom, don't multiply it out. You don't want to see your algebra. I don't want to see your algebra. Just leave it alone. So the bottom stays in unfactored form like this. The top, however, you FOIL that puppy. So the first two are the square root of 9 plus x's. See, I put the f here. That's not the grade. That's the f from FOIL. It's the square root of 9 plus x squared. Then the outer two is that outer two of the top two things right here. These two guys here, this times this. And you don't combine them. You just leave it as this ugly old body looks like. Just stick it there. Then the inner two is this minus 3 times the square root of 9 plus x. And you leave it there. And this should be 9 plus x. I don't know why I put a 3 there. And the last two is 3 times 3, which is 9, not 3. 3 times 3 is 9. So you put 3 there. So that tells me that I think you know 3 times 3 is 9. I think you just didn't know what I was doing or where these numbers came from. So that's where it comes from. And then the outer and the inner cancel each other out. And we get 9 plus x minus 9. And the 9's cancel each other out, and I get x over x. And the x's cancel out. And I was very careful to put canceling x's. So if I slashed them, something would disappear on the page, and you would have no idea where that came from. And when you're studying for the Wednesday quiz, you'd be ticked off at me. So that's why I left it as cancel x's, and you can see the next step. Any step along the way you want me to clarify?
I have a question. Is that just a mistake? It says when you did the square root of 9 plus x squared plus 3, square root of 9 plus 3.
Yeah, it's supposed to be 9 plus x. I said it. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I can put a little tab in there. This is the second time I'm saying it because I said it in the morning class too. You weren't there. But by the way, if you're missing this class, you could be there. It's the emptier class. So there's a little comment box. If you click on it, it'll say 9 plus x, but I think I already posted it. I have to remember now to repost it. And then you take the limit. Now it's okay to stick the x in. You're not going to get a 0 in the denominator anymore. So you get 1 over square root of 9, 3. 3 plus 3 is 1/6. Any questions? Is there any other place along this way that it wasn't clear? I feel like it's a procedure, so if you carefully lay out the steps and you understand it, then you'll be fine. Because on number two is harder than number 1 was, and almost everybody got it right in 2 sections. I've never had that happen before in a calc class, never. So I only can think, I feel like I did the same thing in my other calc classes, step by step, but somehow everybody wrote out the steps on number 2 and everything was clean and right. And it was a multi-step thing. You had to do the chain rule, and then you had to find the tangent line. So that was the harder of the 2 problems, actually. That tells me maybe I didn't explain the first one correct the first time. Any question, any gap in information on the first one? We all good with that? If you're shy, just send me a text separate from this and say, I didn't understand you when you did X. And then we'll explain it again. And I'm here tomorrow, 11 to 1 for office hours, and I think the tutor's here from 9 to 11.